Is business class within Europe a scam? Well, join me as I fly from London Heathrow to Edinburgh in British Airways Club Europe. My journey started at the famous T5 at Heathrow, the home of BA. It's quite a long terminal, but somehow I managed to enter through the door closest to the business class check-in. There are actually two check-in areas, one for the self-serve bag tag and bag drop, and another full-service check-in area. I used the full-service area because I wanted to ask the check-in agent to move me to a window seat. Even in business class, BA doesn't include seat selection for free, something I can only consider as a move to try and get more money from you. Thankfully, the agent was able to assign me a window and I quickly passed through to fast-track security, which popped me out right in front of the gallery's business lounge. There were festive decorations everywhere, and although the lounge was busy this morning, there was still enough seating for everyone to find a spot. The only downside is that some of the tables were far too low for the seats, making it hard to eat if you had a plate of food with you. It's a shame it was still dark because it looked like there was a great view of the runway. There was a kids' gaming room which was a nice touch, but most importantly, there was a solid food spread offering up a breakfast buffet. It had all the bits and pieces to make your own English breakfast, but weirdly I couldn't see a toaster. Instead, there were ready-made slices of toast in a tray, but they were all cold, which was a bit disappointing. After stuffing myself with food, I went down to the gate and we eventually started boarding around 20 minutes late. The British Airways narrow-body fleet mostly consists of the A320 family, and the cabins are pretty much the same inside. My flight today was on an A320 with an indicated 6 rows of business class. In Europe, the actual seats used in business class are the same as economy, so if they really wanted to, BA could easily make this 7 rows of business, or 3 rows, basically wherever they decide to move the curtain to. You do get a nice little headrest cloth, but the main point of difference is the guaranteed empty middle seat. And in BA's case, they've also installed a handy little tray table in the middle seat. The seat width and legroom are the same as economy, and the BA seats come with an adjustable headrest. My seat was in row 1, so I had better knee and legroom than the other rows, but the fixed armrests meant my seat width was restricted compared to a normal seat. For comparison, here's what a normal row looks like, still in Club Europe class. The seat has a recline function and does go back a little bit, but nobody really reclines on a 1-hour flight anyway. That being said, in a day and age where new planes are being delivered without a recline function, it's still a nice option to have. The crew handed out menus, and I loved the seasonal Christmas theme with the ribbon design and the special menu items. I was also impressed by the number of food and drink options available, especially on such a short flight. We pushed back slightly behind schedule, and it was the first time I saw one of these mini tugs being used.
Good morning to you all. My name is Shania, the in-flight lead on today's flight, and joining me in the cabin is Mark Sharp.
Once we got through the clouds, we were treated to a very scenic sunrise, a complete contrast to what it was like on the ground. The crew promptly started the meal service, and given I'd already had a substantial meal in the lounge, I decided to go for the charcuterie option. Unfortunately, they ran out of the charcuterie by row 2, so I gave my meal to the person behind me, and I got the cheese and tomato omelette instead. To be honest, I didn't really enjoy it, and I probably should have kept my first choice meal. This plane had BA's onboard Wi-Fi, but even the free messaging Wi-Fi required an executive club membership. Of course, you could buy Wi-Fi if you wanted to, but it seemed like everything on the BA homepage was designed to make you spend more money. It would have been good if they at least had some free entertainment streaming like other airlines offer. With nothing else to do, I just looked out the window for the rest of the flight. So back to my original question. Is Eurobusiness a scam, and is it worthwhile paying the extra money? Well, it's not so straightforward in my opinion. First and foremost, I must say that I was pleasantly surprised by British Airways Club Europe. I went in with pretty low expectations, but I was genuinely impressed by the end of it. As someone who does not have One World status, I could fully appreciate the enhanced ground experience compared to regular economy. On board, the food and drink offering was decent, and well beyond what you get included in an economy fare. Of course, the counter here is that you could just buy food on board instead, and that's a fair point as well. It's hard to put a value on the blocked middle seat, but on a full flight like mine, it was definitely worthwhile. You could get lucky in economy and have an empty seat, but it's also peace of mind knowing that you will have the guaranteed extra space in business class. Where the value proposition starts to drop off is if you have One World status. Even with the lowest tier, One World Ruby, you can make use of the business class check-in area. As you go higher, you get things like the lounge, priority boarding, and luggage perks as well, so the marginal utility from an economy to business ticket reduces. Obviously, the main factor in the question, is it worthwhile, is the price difference, and again, it's not so straightforward, as different people have different needs. For my particular flight, the price difference was around £70, but that gave me all the checked luggage I needed, as well as the ground perks as a non-status member. I also earned more miles and got that warm fuzzy feeling inside, knowing that I was flying business class. So yes, I could justify the cost in this case, but I certainly wouldn't hold it against anyone who thinks it's a waste. If it was something like £200 to £300 extra, I probably wouldn't have bothered either.